A little show of happy, a little show of shine. Come and hear some stories, maybe leave inspired. Give your mind a break, maybe heal your soul. Come and spend a while at the CK Sim Show.
Mr. Adam Brownlie joining us all the way from Australia today. Welcome to the show.
Hey, CK.
Are you a nervous person, or are you used to this sort of thing?
Yeah, I've been doing a few of them. I'd like to do more, but yeah, probably doing one every couple of weeks. So, not really nervous.
That's good.
Pretty confident with all things happiness, if that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about you, right? So you are the author of Happypedia.
Yeah.
So before we get into Happypedia, let's go back to younger Adam. What was life like? Because everybody wants to know how does a man come out and write a book called Happypedia, right? So tell us that story if you're cool with it.
Yeah, well, I was born into a family of six. Well, it wasn't six at the time. I was number two. Mum and dad were cotton farmers. Well, mum stayed at home and looked after us. She used to be a teacher, and dad grew cotton. So, yeah, I grew up pretty happy life living on the farm. For some of it, we were living pretty remotely. So, we were homeschooled. Mum taught us at home. So, during
Okay.
that stage, we'd do school in the morning, usually from, I think it was like 9 till 12 when we'd had lunch. And that was our school for the day. And after that, we were free to go and play and ride the motorbikes, build cubby houses, uh, build stuff in the shed, whatever we wanted to. And that took me up till about when I was 12 and went to boarding school. So by then, I remember being ready for boarding school. Pardon?
Okay, so like homeschooled till 12,
Yeah.
free range, literally on a farm. What part of Australia?
So at the time, we're in northwestern New South Wales near Walgett.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know that
I
area at
I
all.
know loosely. I think what I'm trying to envision in my life. So Australia is a point of interest. I think I probably will go to Australia and visit at some point in my life, but probably heavily medicated because I'm from the Western Hemisphere, the Northern Western Hemisphere. We don't have things that really want to kill us besides like wolves, bears, and they're predominantly in the woods. So for me, I always think about like the spiders, the snakes, the sort of thing. But for Australian people, in my experience, they're the most chill people in the world because they grew up just around all of that stuff. So did you see this stuff? It's not about the story, but I am curious. Like, did you see this growing up?
The stuff, you mean like things out to kill you?
Yeah, like
Is that what you mean?
yeah, like you see pictures of big gargantuan spiders and
Yeah. So
these.
I probably saw stuff out to kill me, but didn't see it as out to kill me. I probably saw spiders, but didn't feel like I was in danger. I definitely felt scared when I saw snakes. That were
Yes.
definitely something I wasn't too keen on spending time with. But yeah, no, I wasn't. We didn't live in fear of. But you're in America, are you?
I am in Canada.
Yeah, you're in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So we have Massasauga rattler snakes. They're not poisonous, and we have garter snakes, but they're just little tiny things.
Yeah.
We have some, itty bitty black widows here, but we don't have like what you have down there. Like a huntsman spider, for instance. Like to me, they're incredible creatures. They're the kind you want in your house because they take care of everything else, but they're still pretty massive, right? So we don't have that kind of size when it comes to spiders in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
it's not something we face every day really either. I can't remember the last time I've seen a huntsman.
really, okay. But so there's misconceptions. I'm sure I have tons of
Yeah.
misconceptions about Australia as well, right? So you're on the farm, you're living life, but you had just said, and I cut you off, and I apologize about that. But you had just said that you went to boarding school at 12, but you said you were ready for boarding school.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the like? Explain that to me.
Oh, as in like I was ready to have a bit of freedom, I think. Not that I had freedom, but maybe uh, I felt like I was sick of mum telling me what to do. So
Okay,
uh,
fair.
it was, I don't know, I guess in hindsight, it was just easier having someone I didn't know tell me what to do. So I went to boarding school and strangers told me what to do.
But what was
So,
that like to go from, say, 3 hours a day doing homeschool to having your afternoon to yourself? Then, because I'm assuming I've never been, most boarding schools are regimented, very structured, right?
yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of learning about people. Like I remember I'd often come home after school and just think about social incidences that happened and just reflect on them and think about how I could do it better. Uh, and it was different dealing with these people to my 5 brothers and sisters who I spent all my time with previously. Now I was in a school of 2,000 people who grew up in the city, so had different upbringings to me and different perspectives on the world, and were much better socialized. Like they'd, done probably daycare from before they started school, and then they did school with a lot of people, so they were really good at socializing. So that was something that I had to learn at uh, at school. But yeah, I was lucky that it was a good boarding school and plenty of room for you to learn. So it was kind of good being thrown into this deep end because it kind of forced you. So we went from one extreme of just pretty much spending time with family to spending 24 hours a day with other people, having really no escape. So, you went to the classroom and you're with a class full of people, and then you went home to the boarding house for a building full of people. So, yeah, but it was good. Uh, I enjoyed it.
And you were from 12 to 18?
Yeah. Yeah. From year 7 till year 12.
And
Uh,
so how far away was the boarding school from home then?
it was probably about 12 hours on a bus. So, yeah, mum would drive us to the bus stop, which was probably, I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours from our house. And then from memory, I think the bus ride was probably like 12 hours or something like that. And so then we'd get to Brisbane, and then we'd have these little slips of paper which would allow us a taxi ride. So we'd get a taxi, give them this bit of paper, and that'd take us to the boarding house. And that's where we'd stay for the next 10 weeks. And in 10 weeks' time, we'd go and catch the bus home and go back to the farm for the holidays. So,
And it was 10 weeks and then so many weeks off, then back again? Like,
yeah, it
was
was just your
that
school term. Like the school terms are normally like 10 weeks. So four,
okay?
four terms, 4 lots of 10 weeks. And so that's 40 weeks. And then the rest of it's holidays.
Home with your
Yeah.
parents. So yeah, I
So,
can imagine that being a culture shock, especially coming from a ranch, spending predominantly most of your time with your siblings, and then all of a sudden being put in with this sort of large grouping of diverse people, I'm imagining, with diverse sort of upbringings, lifestyles,
yeah, yeah,
experiences. So
yeah,
you were in school, you were a good student?
yeah, really good.
Yeah?
I
I
wasn't one
see the
of
pride.
those. Yeah, I've always been a rule follower. Always like to follow rules. But then again, As I get older, I guess I'm more inclined to bend the ones that seem unnecessary. But uh, yeah, I think following rules has been something that's really helped me with happiness too. You know, like doing just the healthy things like eating well, sleeping well, exercising well. These are all things that I see as rules to follow. And you know, I was raised to follow these rules, and now I just do because I've always have. So
Has been so rule abiding ever impeded any part of your life?
no, I don't think so. I guess what's helped me is if I haven't seen a rule as having any rational reason. I think I've been very rational about it. You know, this rule makes sense, so I'm going to follow it. I guess at school I was more like, you know, I don't want to get in trouble,
Yeah.
so I'm going to follow these rules. But as I get older, I'm just like, this rule makes sense. I'm going to do it. Like it just makes sense to eat 3 healthy meals a day. So I just do and don't do anything else. It makes sense to exercise 20 minutes a day. So I just do. Uh, yeah, no, it's
What
never been a problem. And it's been help. Like I also joined the Army Reserves after school when I was at university. I joined the Army Reserves, and they're very rules focused. Like everything's very like you've got to measure your shirts when you're folding it and putting it in the cupboard. Uh, And I found that very easy. Like a lot of people were stressed, like they were having nightmares at the training. And then when they got home after the training, they were still having nightmares about, you know, people telling them to follow the rules. Uh, but yeah, I just took it in my stride. I don't know why, because because at home we'd always had to follow the rules. At boarding school, we'd have to follow the rules. I was really used to following rules. So
what did you do in university? What was your focus?
So yeah, at uni, I studied farming to start with. When I finished school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I saw Dad had everything he wanted and was pretty happy, and so I was like, well, I know how to do what Dad's doing, so I'll just do that. So
I really love that answer. Like, just, you know what I mean? I love that answer because, take a second. The simplicity in that answer, right? I've talked to lots of people in the
yeah,
podcast, but just in life, period. And
yeah,
often there's such a rebellion away from what the folks, the parents do. They don't want to do what they did. But for
yeah,
you, it was like your dad, you saw what your dad was doing and he seemed to have everything he wanted.
yeah.
And that was so simple for you. But a great answer. But you didn't stick to farming.
No, no. So I studied farming, and while I was at university studying agronomy, I started my first business. So that's when I got a taste for business. Then I went into my master's of business. After I finished, I went back to the farmed for uh, from 23 to 29. So like 6 years. It was like the longest stint I'd done anywhere. Uh,
Fair. Yeah. But it was
uh,
embedded in you, so that makes sense.
yeah. So yeah, 6 years of farming. And after 6 years, I decided that I was going to retire. So I stopped farming and I needed to. So at the time, I had a quite a few real estate properties, rentals, and so they were just paying their way. You know, they were making enough rent to pay the bills and the interest. So there wasn't much money left for me to buy my bread and milk. So I had to sell everything and invest it in something that was more cash flow positive. So for the next few years, I went about selling everything. So I wanted to sell everything for the max. So I was doing developments. I was building houses, building apartments, doing subdivisions. So I got into property development, you could say, and then yeah, finished that, and that break basically brings me up to what I started doing now is just looking at how I can make the world a happier place. So I've just been trying all different things to that
So
end.
what? So like, okay, to recap, homeschool till 12, 12 to boarding school to university, along with the Army Reserves,
Yeah.
then master's in business, farmed for 6 years, had properties, spent a few years sort of doing property development.
Yeah.
And then what was the catalyst or can you pinpoint in your life when you decided that you wanted to figure out not only how to make, was it a need for you to be happy that sort of led to wanting to make other people happy, or were you already happy and then you wanted to sort of replicate that for other people?
Yeah. I'm always looking at how I can help other people, really. Uh,
Where do you think
yeah.
it comes from?
Don't know. Not sure. And also this question about what inspired me to want to uh, like talk about happiness. That's something that I didn't really know either. And like a lot of people have asked me over the last 3 years when I've been writing this book. So I've come up with a hypothesis. Uh,
Okay, I would love to hear it.
so, yeah, when I was quite young, uh, I just finished reading a book about this girl who died of leukemia.
Mhm.
And shortly after that, I got diagnosed with pneumonia. And so here I was sitting in the doctor's surgery thinking I was going to die. I thought I had leukemia.
Okay.
I didn't know the difference between those two words. And yeah, it really rattled me. And like before that, I used to be able to just watch the news. Well, I used to watch the news with Dad every night. But after this, I just found it really hard to, like, it was too stressful.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think what was on the news a lot was wars, fighting,
Yeah.
particularly like in the Middle East. And I was like, why? Why are they fighting? Uh, and I decided that the solution was forgiveness. So so we were raised Catholic, went to church pretty much every Sunday, most Sundays. And then maybe that influenced me, but I was like, these people, they're also religious people, a lot of them, and it's not really driving them to forgive. Like, I'm sure forgiveness is the solution. So I felt like so then over the years, so this isn't something I thought of then. Like back then, I was just like, that's it. But over the years, I thought we need a new reason to forgive, uh, like a scientific reason to forgive, rather than a spiritual reason or a supernatural reason, because these supernatural reasons, it's often you agree with it. You're like, yes, we should forgive, until it becomes your turn to forgive. And you're like, well, this is different. This thing is not forgivable. We bend the rules for ourselves. So I felt like we needed another reason. And so that was something that I was just pondering for a few years. Then after I finished uni, I was just walking along the river with a couple of mates, and one of them, Jack, he said, our life is just like this stone, and he throws this stone, and he's like, where this stone lands is determined by the force I apply to it, the angle I apply that force, the temperature, the wind, the air pressure, all these things determine exactly where that's going to follow. It lands deterministically based on all these mathematical rules. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, we're just matter, just moving through space, being pushed around by all these forces. Where we land is determined from when we set off, like from when we're born, from before we're born. So I thought about this, and I became an extremist, you could say. Like, you know, Jack believed in this, but then I took it to another level, and even he's now like, well, I don't know whether I believe that. But then, so then that happened. So these are all just things that happened along the way. And then just like 2 years ago, well, then, yeah, when I just moved to the city like 3 years ago, I moved to Brisbane, or 4 years ago now. And I thought, you know, everyone here is just so stressed, and I often wondered why people so sensitive, so easily offended. And then fast forward another couple of years, and I was in Georgia near Russia, and this idea just came to me. Like, I was just there in Tbilisi waiting to catch a flight home, and I was like, I think the answer is this philosophy, as in, like, everything was always going to happen because we're just moving according to these rules of nature. So if everything was always going to happen, nobody's to blame. Like, any mistakes we make, we're not to blame for that because we were forced to do that by what happened in the past. And if someone else does something that offends us, we can't really blame them because they were forced to do that by all the forces acting on them. So this is a great reason to forgive, a scientific reason to forgive, because we really have no reason to resent anyone. Like, nothing is anybody's fault. We're all just moving as we are forced to move. And so I was like, you know, I guess the best way to share this is through a book on happiness. You know, like, how much of our stress is from resentment towards other people, or like regret of our mistakes. So if we can take that load off our shoulders, like, how happy are we going to be? So yeah, that's when I started researching happiness, what it is and how to achieve it. Yeah, so they're just a few little things that happened through my life that, you know, may have led to me having that decision when I was in Tbilisi that day to write a book. Everything in my life would have added up to that moment, you know, like even something my classmate said to me in grade 7 when we were in biology, like something I can't even remember now, would have shaped me and
Should have
caused
been the
me
littlest thing.
to do what I did. Billions of things caused me to do it, but, you know, those are a few things that kind of make a story of what brought me to write this book.
So I'm processing what you're telling me. And basically what you're saying is essentially you had no choice but to write this book, essentially,
Yeah.
because it was where you were destined to land.
Yeah, it's hard to use these words because our language is built around this idea that we have this freedom, we have free will. So it's so hard to use these words that assume we have this freedom to describe our reality. So we do have a choice. Like, I had the choice to write the book or not. And I made the choice to write it. And that was unavoidable. You know, I was forced to do it. It's kind of like, imagine if like a burglar came into your home and said, like, give me all your money or I'm going to shoot you. You've got the choice, but you're kind of forced to give him all your money. It's the same with all our decisions. Like, we have a choice. We can imagine 2 options, but we can only ever do one. And often we don't know what that's going to be until we do it, because we can only imagine the future. Our brain's amazing. It can do some amazing things, but it can't calculate all these forces acting on us, like the amount of dopamine we've got in our brain, the temperature all these things affect that decision, and our brain just can't comprehend all these factors. Like, yeah, scientists have done these experiments where they'll give them a cold thing to hold, and that will determine their next decision. Who would have thought? Just something so small. So all these factors are forcing us to make this next decision, and we just don't even know how they're affecting our brain. So we just can't calculate what our next decision is, but we can imagine. I might decide this. Yeah, and that's where this illusion comes from, that we can decide these things that we imagine can decide.
All right. So I want to pause for a second because I want to go back to, you had said that people are forced to do things, right? So like
Yeah.
bad things, good things, whatever the situation would be. So we can't be angry because we're all just sort of rocks being thrown with a
Yeah.
predetermined force.
Yeah.
But in my mind, that sounds like there's a lack of accountability. So does that mean that someone who harms others was forced to do that and therefore not or absolved of accountability?
Yeah, so there's 4 reasons people usually use to push back against this, and this is one. And so, yeah, just to do a bit of myth busting here, uh, just because it's in someone's nature to do something doesn't mean we're not going to take action to prevent that from happening, right? It's just like a snake. Snakes are inherently dangerous. We don't blame them for being dangerous. Like, it's not their fault that they have fangs with venom in them and like uh, bite things when they get scared. That's their nature. That's the way they're born. But we take precautions. Like if we see one in an area, we will likely get rid of it and take it away, or a lot of people will just kill it. And it's the
I would
same
just
with
run.
you. Just what? Sorry.
I would just run.
Yeah, yeah. And so humans are the same. Like, there's humans who it's in their nature just to be evil people, and we don't want to deal with them. And so we're going to avoid them. We're going to lock them up. We're going to punish them. And so then these things, the fact that we do this to humans and we are humans, motivates us not to do these bad things because we don't like getting locked up. We don't like getting punished. And so these are forces that are applying, motivating us to do the right thing. So although it's not our fault that we are who we are and we do what we do, if we want to be happy, if we want to avoid punishment, if we want to avoid the repercussions of doing bad things, then we're going to choose to do good. So I feel like what your question was asking is like, will people do good if they know that they're not to blame for anything they did? And yes,
Not
they
ex-
will.
Not exactly, but then I question, and so this is how my brain works, right? So I
Yeah,
question, you say that we have no choice, essentially. There's the illusion of choice, but we don't really have the choice because
yeah,
we're sort of thrown rocks and we're going to
yeah,
land where we're going to land.
yeah,
So in that breath, if say someone is out there harming people,
yeah,
they have no choice in that.
yeah,
That's a part of how they were thrown.
yeah,
So when it comes to the forgiveness part, and I'm buying in, like I can buy into the forgiveness part, and I'll talk about that in a second. But do they then not? There's no accountability because they're just following a predestined path,
yeah.
or
This is what I'm saying. It's not their fault, so there's no point in us hating them or resenting them or struggling to sleep at night because of what they did. But we don't want that to happen again. So we're going to take precautions to prevent that from happening again. Uh, you know what I mean? Like, uh, if you drop a glass on the ground, it's going to crack, right? It's going to break. It's in its nature. That's what happens. We don't hate the glass for having that characteristic, that trait. We just understand that that glass has that trait, and so we treat it accordingly. And it's the same with these evil people. If they do something wrong, it's not their fault that they've got that trait. We don't blame, well, we shouldn't blame them for having that trait, but we're going to treat them accordingly. We're going to punish them. We're going to lock them up. We're going to do what we can to prevent further harm in the future. So, yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, I'm still shaky though on the goal, but I want to say, like, so as far as forgiveness goes, I have there's parallels with how I feel about forgiveness overall with what you're talking about right now.
Yeah,
So, like, for me, I don't forgive people for them, I forgive them for myself.
yeah,
So, like, I don't want to hold on to that sort of resentment, that hatefulness, whatever weird feelings I'm feeling. So
yeah,
I forgive them and release it into the world and go about my business. And then,
yeah,
as you are saying, yes, I do apply a certain level of caution to ensure that I don't particularly look or land in a place where I might find a similar person. So, like, I'm looking
yeah,
for signs, if you will. This person seems shady, or this person
yeah,
doesn't seem trustworthy. Those sort of things. So that I can kind of line up with, right? But I'm struggling, I guess, and I think I'm just going to bring it up. I'm not afraid to bring it up. So, like, for me, I guess where my hang up is right now, and I don't hate him.
yeah,
I hate his ways.
yeah,
Don't hate him. But Trump is a prime example of
yeah,
right now, something who's out there harming people, creating disruption in this world, like that sort of thing. So, but in your philosophy, it he's not responsible for that because it's not his fault. He was destined to do that,
yeah.
and then we will learn to avoid that again in the future. Okay, is that it? That's
Yeah,
the
exactly. Yeah, it's not his fault, but if we want to like change, we should be thinking about how we can cause him to change. So if he's doing something, like what's one thing that he's doing that you don't like?
tearing families apart.
Yeah. So if we don't like him tearing families apart, what can we do to cause him to change his mind? Like, is there anything we can do
Change his
to cause?
mind? Maybe not. Impeach him and
Yeah.
put him in prison?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well,
But
there you go. Like, what steps can we take to cause a good outcome? This is what we should be thinking about rather than like this person's evil. Uh, like when anything in nature is bad or evil, we think about how to prevent further harm. We don't think we don't hold we usually don't hold resentment towards that thing. And it's the same with humans. We should just be like, how can I cause this harm to stop? Uh, well, I forgive the person who's doing it, but I'm going to do my darnest to prevent it from happening. Uh,
yeah, so I think, okay, it's so here's what I think's happening. And it may be happening for people who's listening at home too. And so I think there's a shock factor to what you're saying, right?
yeah,
Like, but and that's fine. You probably know this already, that it's going to
yeah,
shock and dust up a lot of feelings for people. What I'm realizing though, was taking a while to permeate my brain, is you are implicating that the same logic that we would apply to a glass that falls is the same logic we should apply to everybody and everything. So if a glass falls, it breaks, right?
yeah,
We don't get upset that the glass fell. And we don't get upset that the glass broke. We just accept it as that is the way it is.
yeah,
And then as ourselves to choose happiness, if we apply the same logic to all other components of our lives, then we could attain a certain level of happiness by removing the blame, removing the resentment, the hate, the whatever comes up, and saying, okay, that's how that is. I can only now control how I would like to prevent that from happening again in the future,
Yeah.
or how I would. So I get what you're saying. Like it's coming in and it's permeating and that sort of thing. And it doesn't. It's not. I think the part that, and maybe you've experienced this already, I think the part that people are going to struggle with, and maybe what I'm struggling with, and I'll continue to reconcile this,
Yeah.
after this particular podcast, and I'll probably purchase your book and read it, because like people's books that they send them to me, they live up behind me on my back the whole year. So like I'm interested in that concept. So, all right. I don't want to take up all the time on success, but it did take me a moment to sort of like get past my initial sort of like
Oh yeah.
guffaw, if you will, and
Yeah.
being like, are you serious? Like you just gonna let people, you know what? But and what's so interesting too is very timely because just I don't even know if you know this because I don't think I'm kind of getting a vibe that I don't think that you're the type of person who's like watching the news and dialed into sort of things that are happening around the world at the moment. But like but I think you mentioned that earlier. You said that, after your experience with having pneumonia and thinking that you were going to die because of leukemia, watching the news afterwards was something that
Yeah, no, I
was
got over that. Like it doesn't phase me now watching the news, but I generally don't have time for that. I've got I've got these projects, I've got these things that I want to do. I just lack time to read newspapers or watch the news or scroll social media. So
Well,
uh,
that's fair. I mean, it's a
yeah,
part of my job to sort of kind of keep an eye on what's happening out there, because I want to talk about it. And this is a really cool, interesting thing that's dividing the internet right now. So this past Sunday on the BAFTAs, I'm not sure if you know what that is, but it is I mean, it's not a lot of people don't know what it is, but it's kind of like Britain's version of the Oscars, if you will.
yeah,
And there was a man, his name is, I don't remember his whole name, John something. He made a movie called I Swear. It was a documentary. It's based on Tourette's syndrome. He was sitting in the audience. Two Black presenters walked on the stage to present for a picture, and the Tourette's happened. And he said the N word out loud. And then the BAFTAs didn't edit it out and let it air because it was pre recorded. So the internet is divided. So in the end, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's such a hot topic at this moment. But your methodology is that that was supposed to happen. It is what it is. And then how will we prevent that from happening again? So from a global standpoint, we know what the BAFTAs could do, but like, how would we as a person now do that?
yeah. Uh, that's our challenge in life. And sometimes we it's not worth our time. Like, uh, what can we do, and is that the most meaningful thing to dedicate our time to? Uh, but maybe we can make a small difference in our local area. Like, we may not be able to change what they say on the big stage because we don't have influence over that. But we might be able to change what people say in our house or at our
Mhm.
workplace, or so we may be able to take that lesson and apply it somewhere else.
Okay, I do see the
Uh,
wisdom in what you just said, right? I really loved how you say how we could change things in our house, right? So I'm liking this. Okay. So in the essence of time and being and I want to talk about because I'm sure it's not all just forgiveness, but like Happypedia. What
yeah.
is I mean, I don't, give away the plot of the book completely, but like what do you feel is like some of the main components into being a happy person?
Yeah, so this is a massive component. And so, yeah, happy to take up the whole show just talking about forgiveness. Uh,
Forgiveness?
oh, yeah, it's so important. It's so hard and it's so new. Like you said, you when you first heard it, you're like, hang on a second. It like pushed you back a little bit and like, it gives you a bit of like oh, I don't like the feel of this. It's because it's so different. Like we've been told the complete opposite our whole life. And so when we hear this the first time, we're like, you know what? That makes sense, but it feels so wrong. It's
It
like
does. It feels
I can't see any problems with it, but it just feels so wrong.
it feels
Uh,
institutionally wrong, right?
yeah.
Which goes right back to the fact that we've been fed this since we were children, like what growing up.
Mm.
So, have you had to forgive anybody in your life?
No, every day. But you mean like something big? Uh, maybe I have, and I haven't even known that I've done it. Like when you've got this mindset, you don't feel resentment in the first place to have to forgive them. You know what I mean? You don't need to change the resentment into disappointment. You just feel disappointed. Uh, so maybe I have. Uh, I definitely find it easy. Like, yeah, nothing much gets me down, and it's such a huge thing for happiness. As in, like I talk about in the book about this happiness helix. Whereas the happier we are, the easier it is to do things that make us happy. Most people would be able to relate. If you're stressed, it's really hard to find the motivation to go and exercise. You really just want to sit and scroll. But if you've had a really good day, most people are like, you know, cleaning the house, doing these chores that they never usually want to do. You've got so much more energy when you're happy. And one of the biggest stresses in people's life is resentment towards, like, they might be at work and someone's done something that they really are angry about. And if they can just forgive them, they can just release that stress massively. And the other big stress is mistakes we've made or we might make. Like, oh, what if I make this mistake? What if I stuff this up? All these worries and resentments and regrets can be like lightened through uh, being really good at forgiveness. And so if you take that stress away, all of a sudden, all these other things that make you happy become easier. You've got more energy to cook that healthy meal rather than just get takeaway. You got more energy to go for that run. You got more energy to spend time with your friends. You're a better friend because you're not stressed. So you got better connection. You've got all these things that are the 6 pillars of happiness. So if you can just master forgiveness, everything else is just going to become so much easier from it.
So, what's really interesting is as you were talking, I was having a epiphany, if you will, um, and I think I'm a happy guy. I
Yep.
still get stressed out, right? Sometimes I think I'm just hardwired that way. But I'm an actually very happy guy who lives life pretty happily. But this wasn't always the case. So like 2017 was a catalyst for me. There's a whole story that's in my podcast. I won't repeat it, but long story short, I learned how to forgive myself, and I do that regularly. But it came from a necessity out of having anxiety, right? Because in anxiety, we are catastrophizing all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I would instead of going into the future and dwelling on all of the things that could potentially go wrong, I determined that, okay, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong.
Mm.
Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? And you're going to be fine. It's going to be okay in the end. So there
Yeah.
was a sense of sort of forgiveness in not being in control, I guess, feeling like I was not in control. And then if something did go wrong, which in many parts of my life leading up to 35 and after, I was very quick to say, okay, you know what? You made a mistake, which came from kindness, like learning self kindness and self love. You made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. It's good. We're going to let it go. So that sort of epiphany, you just mentioned it yourself, it's outward. We're looking at forgiving everybody because it is what it is.
Yeah.
They had no control, but it's also the inward. So it's forgiveness externally and internally that
Yeah.
requires this mindset. It's so interesting. I got to tell you, it's really interesting because, like, my mind's still turning. Like there's
Yeah.
so many things happening from what, and I don't even know if you read. I'm trying to be really good with my body language, but I'm not sure if you noticed my body language changed a little bit when you first sort of started talking about that. And I noticed it because I realized that I instinctively crossed my arms. And I became aware, I'm like, okay, wait, hold up a second. I'm like, now you're sort of like stepping back, shielding yourself, like, but I'm realizing it's just that sort of initial
Yeah.
moment of incredulousness, that just sort
Yeah.
of like, what? What?
Yeah.
But when you stop for a second, so I am interested in the Happypedia. So how long did it take you to write Happypedia?
3 years.
3
So
years?
I really didn't envision it taking that long. I didn't commit 3 years of my life to that when I set off, but that's what it ended up taking me, from 9 to 5 for 3 years, uh, researching and writing and rewriting about happiness. So yeah, when I started, I was like, well, why do PhDs take 3 to 4 years to write a PhD? It's like 50,000 words. Like, surely you could do that in a few weeks. Do your research in a couple of weeks, write about it. And, but yeah, I learned it takes time to study these things and to write about it. And then when you get people to review it, so this book's been reviewed by academics and a lot of editors. When get people to review it, quite often it makes sense in your head, but you've got to put it in a language that people get what pick up what you're putting down. And so
Yeah.
it takes a lot of, especially when you're talking about novel topics. It's not just something where we're all on the same page and you can just write something simply and people know what you mean. When you're talking about new and like leading edge type of things that are new to people, uh, you need to explain in detail. And so it's ended up being a huge book. Maybe it could have been shorter, but people kept on asking questions. But what about this and what about that? And I was like, you're not the only one who's going to want to know this. Everyone else is going to read this book and ask the same question. And so it's become a huge book. It's actually too big for Amazon's hardcover printing press. So you can only get it in paperback.
So how big, do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'll grab it. So yeah, that's it. It's like basically the size of a Bible.
That's a
I think
paperback, y'all.
600 pages. The typesetter suggested making the print a bit smaller, just to try and get the page count down a bit, but I didn't want to sacrifice the readability of it. So, 600 pages. It's got some little black and white images through it. Their color in the Kindle version,
Yeah.
and a few exercises. There's like in the back of it, there's a list of exercises. So obviously, a lot of these things are easier to understand if you do a physical thing to experience it. So a lot of understanding our thoughts and uh, how the mind works can be better understood by doing exercises. So
Of
yeah,
course.
there's a lot of
I mean,
exercises.
if you look at any sort of form of like when you're trying to train your brain to think in a different way or process different concepts differently, you like even CBT, you have to do the exercises, they're tools to make them happen. So you are self-published through Amazon only?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, just published the Audible version of it on Spotify.
Your
So
voice?
no, it's actually AI voice. So uh, yeah, people have said that maybe I should have done it. Maybe I've got a good voice, but yeah, I got auditions, and these guys are amazing, like professionals. It's so much easier, I think, to listen to a professional actor. So I went with a professional. But when I put out auditions on the Audible platform. You can,
Yeah.
and all these professionals can apply to narrate your book. And I got like 40 applicants, and I chose the ones that I thought were best, the 3 best. And then you can download the file to send to other people. And these people who had uploaded this file didn't change the file name. It still said 11 Labs. So I don't know if you know what 11 Labs is. It's like an AI voice generation platform. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So the best auditions were AI. Uh, so unfortunately, it was a struggle for these professional actors to do as good as the AI. So yeah, I've gone with AI. There are a couple of little places where you might be able to tell it's AI, but generally it's if I didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't know. But yeah,
Bleh, I can't speak. Have you checked out Ingram Spark?
yeah, yeah,
You have?
yeah.
Because they have a very big distribution, right? So beyond Amazon and beyond all of those things.
So it should be on Ingram as well. So I think Ingram's mainly for bookstores. Is that right?
Bookstores, e-readers, all of it.
Yeah, right.
The
So
whole
yeah,
thing.
I've only sold like my last book, The Last Gods. I think I sold like one copy of that through Ingram Spark. Uh, so I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just not telling people about it. People don't know about it, but yeah, both books I believe are on both platforms.
Awesome.
And
So you're going through and you're doing your sort of podcast. You're talking about the book, Happypedia. Love the actual cover. It's very nice. And I get, just go back to the fact that it took you 3 years and you didn't think you were going to invest 3 years of your life. If you're going to call something Happypedia, you got to do the work, right? Like it's
yeah,
so you it is available for I'm hoping it's going to open up on no, so it's in Australia right now. I need to change to Canada. Change country. I want to see it in Canada. For some reason it will not let me change, but we'll work it out at another time.
what
So
are you
you're
on Amazon there trying to get it, or Ingram?
yeah, I was trying to switch to Canada because it opened in Amazon Australia.
Yeah,
Change country, and I want Canada, please. Thank you. All right, go to website. Happypedia. It's there. Paperback and Kindle and the Kindle
yeah,
with a
nice.
good turnaround time on shipping as well. So that's good. And it's also going to be on Amazon.com. So you're doing the rounds now, having podcast talking about the book. So what's next for you?
Yeah, that's what I've got to try and figure out, how to get this message out, because it's world changing. Like, I think this could really make the world a massively better place, like a healthier place. People are going to get like stress is the biggest cause of sickness. Like, so many people
It
get
is.
sick because they're stressed. You know, it's so important. So I've got to get this message out. So, uh, just going to be looking at opportunities to share about it. Uh,
I would send it off to people that you want to read it, right? Like get a copy in the New York Times and all of
yeah.
that sort of so people read it. If the book is good, then if it's in right people, it's going to have the legs. But I would recommend everybody take a look over at Amazon, pick up a copy, whether Kindle or paper edition, for Happypedia. You can also check out more of Adam Brownlie at adambrownlie.com. Yeah, adambrownlie.com. Sorry, there is an AU there, but I'm assuming that's just because of something. But
No,
so
it's
just I
important.
will.
Don't
What?
don't forget don't forget the .au. It won't work without the .au.
It won't?
No.
But there's
That's
a
the
.com there.
yeah, no, it we need that AU or it just won't .com's a whole
Oh
different
yeah,
URL.
no. So that's so interesting that it does .com.au because it does bring up another Adam Brownlie, but this person is art and design. So it is adambrownlie.com.au as in Australia.
Yeah.
And I'm going to link it in the description anyway, so you won't have to go searching for it. It'll be right at the top for you to click on it and go take it out, take a look. And Mr. Brownlie, thank you very much for being a guest today. I will be ordering a copy of your book because I'm very interested in reading all of the different components of Happypedia.
Yeah,
It'll be
no, well, there's a chapter on just about every aspect of happiness there. So yeah, I'm sure you'll find something in there of value.
sure.
And yeah, happy to have another chat once you've read through it, because I'm sure you'll have some questions to go deeper on.
Absolutely. And people can get in touch with you through the website for those who have read the book and want to send comments or emails. There's a contact form there. Actually, not a
Yeah.
form. Sorry, your email is there for them to reach out. And for everyone at home, until next time, get out there and live your wildest dreams.